If you guys are anything like me, this is probably your favorite time of the year. The holidays are some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite times of every single year, and they're supposed to feel good. We get time off of work, good food, we get to see our family, and maybe even a little bit of a break from the typical grind that we usually see. But for a lot of people, it also becomes the most expensive time of the year. And I'm sure for a lot of you out there, you start to feel that financial pressure during the holidays. A lot of us, we're very generous. So we start buying gifts, we go out more, we travel. And before you know it, our checking account looks like it's been completely wrecked. And then January shows up, and this is kind of the worst part because reality hits, and then you start feeling like you're starting off the new year behind. You're staring at your credit card bill and wondering, how the whole month went by that fast. And I've been there too. I've definitely spent my fair share of money during the holidays, and it's not a fun way to start the year feeling behind. So in this video, I just want to share how to enjoy the holidays without wrecking your money and how to be financially conscious during the holidays. And this isn't about cutting everything out or not buying people gifts or not being generous. It's just about staying in control, keeping your peace and not undoing months of progress in 1 month of holidays, because that can definitely happen. So the first thing that we need to do when we're trying to be financially conscious during the holidays is you need to decide what actually matters this season. Now, every year is different, but before you buy anything, take a second to ask yourself, what actually matters to me during the holidays? Because a lot of people truthfully spend out of guilt or habit because that's just what the holidays are about, not actual intention. So maybe it's getting a nice gift for someone you really care about. Maybe it's a trip home to see your family. Or maybe it's just hosting a small dinner with some of your friends, doing like a Friendsgiving or a friend Christmas. Whatever it is, you need to figure out your priorities early, because the earlier you figure your priorities out, the earlier you can start planning. And once you do that, it's a lot easier to say no to the things that don't matter. You stop feeling like, this need that you need to do everything during the holidays. I need to get everyone a gift. I need to go to this outing. I need to do this. I need to do that. Instead, you know what you're already planned for, so you can say yes to the things that you want to do and the things that are in your plan, and then say no to the things that aren't. And you start spending on what actually feels meaningful. And that right there inherently already gives you a little bit more joy during the holidays, because now you know you're doing the right thing, but also sticking to your financial plan. And that's a good way to start enjoying the season without completely drowning financially. Now, the second thing I would do to financially enjoy the holidays is to make a realistic budget, but make the budget and expect it to change. You don't need to make a perfect spreadsheet or anything fancy, right? Just sit down and look at what's coming up and give yourself an honest number. How much are you willing to spend this month between gifts, food, travel, all of it? And then what I would do is I would add a little bit of an extra buffer, because truthfully, the holidays are unpredictable. Something always comes up last minute. It could be a last minute party. Maybe a quick trip you want to go on, or just random spending, or you're at the office and now they're doing Secret Santa at work. So you always want to plan for little surprises during the holidays that could potentially raise your budget. So by doing this, you're not going to feel blindsided when those little things start to come up. And once again, I've always said this, budgeting is not about limiting yourself. It's just more so about staying self-aware with where your money's actually going. And that's a main difference between controlling your money and then also trying to chase your money, right? We want to control our money. So by making a realistic budget and expecting it to change, you're already setting yourself up for a good win during the holidays. Now, one of my biggest money hacks that my girlfriend actually taught me is the best way to save money for the holidays is to start doing this early. Some people I know even start saving for the holidays in January. And I know that sounds early, but hear me out. If you save $50 a month automatically, by December, you're going to have $600 just sitting there waiting for you to spend during the holidays. And that $600 potentially can cover some travel, can cover gifts, can cover food, all of that's already handled. You don't even have to think about it. And it's one of those things that it doesn't feel like a big deal when you set it up, like most automatic savings are. Like, you might think to yourself, "Oh, I'm only saving $25, or I'm only saving $50, or I'm only saving $100." But when you start in January and the holidays come around, well, at that point, you're almost like not even worried about it, because that money's sitting there on the side already, just waiting for you to utilize it specifically for the holidays. So start saving early for the holidays. That's one of the biggest kind of financial holiday hacks that you could probably do. Now, this is something that's come up, and I'm sure all of you have heard this, but give gifts that actually mean something. And you don't need to go overboard by trying to buy the perfect gift or the most expensive gift. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there who have gotten one very meaningful gift, whether it's from your family, from a friend, from a significant other, and that gift, whether it was expensive or not, has probably meant the most to you versus everything else you have gotten. And most people don't even remember what you got them a year later, especially when it comes to like kids. Like, if you have nieces and nephews, a lot of those kids, they're not going to remember what you bought them a year from now. They go through so many life changes that one minute they might want one thing, the other minute they might want another thing. And what they remember, though, is the thought behind it. So simple, very non-expensive gifts. Simple. You could write a note. You could frame a memory. Give something practical or personal. It doesn't have to be expensive to hit hard. I remember last December, I thought I was actually going to be moving for my job a lot sooner than I actually was. And last December, I went on, I think it was, I can't remember the website, and I spent $20, and I made my mom this calendar with all of our family pictures on it. That was probably one of the best gifts I've ever given, and it only cost me $20, where I'm sure people have spent thousands of hundreds of dollars on, their family members, but a simple gift like a calendar with all your family photos might just be the best gift you could get somebody. And once again, the goal is not to impress people, right? During the holidays, we want to make people feel appreciated. So when you shift your focus like that, your wallet and your stress levels both feel a lot lighter. So another thing you can do to be financially conscious during the holidays is really simplify gift giving. So if you've got a big circle, right? You got a big circle of coworkers, cousins, friends, just simplify it. Pick one gift type that works for everyone, right? Maybe everyone gets like a small candle, or a thank you card, or a coffee gift card. Something simple, stocking stuffers, or handwritten notes, whatever it might be. You don't have to play Santa for 30 people, because that's just going to drain all the financial progress that you've made throughout the year. But, obviously keep it thoughtful, but keep it manageable at the same time. And that's another way you can really enjoy giving without resenting it later. And that leads me into the next one is, I know this might sound obvious, but we need to try as hard as possible to avoid holiday debt at all costs. And it still needs to be said, do not go into debt for the holidays. This is one of the biggest financial setbacks that a lot of people make, because the worst feeling is waking up January, February, March, and still paying for something that you bought in December, let alone you bought for someone else. And if you can't afford it in cash, just scale it back. It's literally that simple, because being disciplined is not about being cheap. All it is about having freedom with your money. And your future self will always be grateful for the times you decided not to put yourself into debt, especially during the holidays, especially when you're buying someone else something. So the other thing too is, we need to travel smarter during the holidays. Holiday travel can 100% destroy your budget if you're not careful. Flights, between flights, hotels, and gas, everything spikes during the holidays. So my biggest advice to you, if you know you're going to travel, plan it as early as possible. If you know for a 100% fact that you are going to spend the Christmas of 2026 in New York, book your tickets now. Because I'm telling you, by the time you track prices and everything, the earlier you buy them, usually that's the cheapest price you're going to get. And be flexible with dates too. That can also save you a little bit of money. Or consider flying or driving on off days. It really makes a huge difference. For example, I just went to Arizona for a work meeting, and my ticket round trip there and back was $1,100 because the tickets were bought a week before I actually had to leave. That's a lot of money to travel to Arizona. I think right now, if you look a couple months out, the tickets round trip are like $250, $300. So small little adjustments, small little plannings like that can literally save you hundreds of dollars. And if travel just isn't in the cards this year for you, don't feel bad about it. The people who care about you will truly understand if you cannot financially afford to do certain things during the holidays. If people love you and care about you, they're not going to worry about it, because that leads me into the next thing is be honest with people about money during the holidays. And this one's extremely underrated because a lot of people just truthfully get embarrassed. But if you're just real with people, you tell your friends and family, hey, look, I'm just keeping, I'm keeping it simple this year. Or, hey, look, I have a budget I'm following this year. Most people, honestly, are probably going to be jealous of you, or they're probably going to feel the same way, and they just don't say it at first. Because truthfully, no matter how much money you make, most people see the holidays as a time where they lose a lot of money, and a lot of people wish they plan financially for the holidays. So if you're feeling the stress and you're the one who comes out and says, hey guys, look, I'm keeping it simple this year, I'm going to be frugal, you might honestly have a lot of people follow you in your direction and think, man, I'm actually trying to do the same thing right now. So you don't owe anyone, a financial performance, right? Being responsible does not make you boring. It just makes you smart and it makes you financially conscious. And honestly, setting those boundaries early saves you from a lot of awkward pressure later. You don't want to be the person at Christmas explaining that to everyone. But if you set the expectation up front, people are going to understand. So the next thing we need to do is watch for emotional spending. The holidays mess with our emotions. We get a lot of nostalgia, stress, comparison, loneliness, excitement. It's a roller coaster. And when emotions are high, impulse spending usually follows. You see something on sale and you're like, okay, I want to treat myself. And it feels harmless, but then it's going to add up. So before you buy something, take a pause and ask yourself, do I actually want this, or am I just in a mood right now? And give it a day. If you still want it tomorrow, then go for it. If not, you just saved yourself a few bucks, and that's very little regret. So another good tip that you could do is set a January reset date. So what I mean by this is after the holidays, pick a reset date, like January 2nd or 5th, whatever it might be. And this is when you go through your accounts, you look at your spending, you reset your goals, and get back into the rhythm of being financially conscious. It makes the holidays feel a lot more relaxed because you already know you've planned for your reset. So you can actually enjoy December knowing that you have a certain day in January that your financial structure is going to come back into your life. And then by doing that, you can also reflect before the year ends. Take a night just to look back. How did you financially do throughout the whole year? What worked? What didn't? Basically audit your financial plan. And once again, you don't need to be perfect. Just aware of where your money's going, how you treated your money this year, and things you could get better at or things that maybe you got a little bit worse at. So reflection keeps you very grounded, especially in your financial plan. You will start to see patterns, and that's how you truly build momentum for next year. And the holidays are a great checkpoint, honestly, not to judge yourself, but to appreciate how far financially that you've come. So at the end of the day, money is supposed to give you options, not stress. The holidays should not drain you financially or mentally. So spend your money where it matters, skip what doesn't, and just, don't just buy to enjoy, right? Create the joy, create the happiness. The best moments of the holidays do not come from gifts or dinners or decorations. Once again, they come from the people, the peace, and the memories that you actually enjoy down the road. So if you're focused on building slow, staying intentional, and not letting every season act as a setback for you, then you're definitely in the right place. So if you guys got any value from this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription. Enjoy the holidays, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good day.